to be joined coming up at the bottom of the next hour by Joe Biggs and some of our other reporters that are on the ground in El Paso, Texas, where Homeland Security last Friday and again on Monday said that a terror attack is imminent and that it is specific targets like Fort Bliss. Now, whether this is real or more hyped so that Homeland Security can grab more of our civil liberties and freedoms isn't even an issue, because the border is wide open. We have video of the border fences a month ago, 2 weeks ago, and last night, wide open. They actually open the gates at night. People just pour back and forth, doing whatever they want. It's a giant facade. It's a giant joke. We noticed this about a year ago. We pointed it out in news reports about 6 months ago. 2 weeks ago, the actual training manual for TSA came out, admitting in the memo that they have been told for years to let illegals fly with no ID. But citizens get their brasiers groped, naked body scans, your genitals groped, your children groped, your shoes off, jackets off, shoes off, all to train you that the state is God and that you're a prisoner. It's beyond security theater. And as much as I've bashed the individual TSA minions, most of them just want a job. Some of them are on power trips. Obviously, that's come out over and over again, and a lot of them want to rob the bags and the rest of it. The people that are behind it are our Congress and the special interests that control them. And all over the world, this type of thing is going on in an attempt to train law-abiding citizens that they are basically prisoners. This is an induction into tyranny. So Joe Biggs coming up in an hour, about 20 minutes from now, from El Paso. He was stationed there for a while. He has a lot of sources there at the military base. And we have ICE and Border Patrol sources, obviously high up in the Border Patrol. They've been on the show. But since they've been given gag orders, basically threatened with arrest if they speak out about the admitted treason and how the Border Patrol is there now to complete the cycle of human smuggling, close quote. Think about how epically over the top that is. That Obama is in the news saying, I'm not doing immigration reform right now, and Boehner is in the news saying he's not going to do immigration reform right now until next year, and that it's a great idea, and that this is a wonderful reform. Republican and Democratic leadership working together. Meanwhile, they've already basically legalized all of the illegals by fiat. Between 3 and 5 years before any of these illegals even get an immigration hearing. In fact, that is in the news today. Judge sets hearings for illegal alien minors 4 years from now. The average is 4 years. And welfare is automatically extended. Tax refunds are automatically extended. You can get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Some households get over $80 million a year in tax refunds in Austin, Texas. That's come out in the news, and no one gets in trouble. It was over $100 million at one house in Atlanta. Now, the Democratic Party fences this money through. The people at these houses are just cutouts. They're not getting the money. I mean, do you think Akron on video was ready to run child sex slaves and help the Veritas Project, posing as pimps, run sex slaves at Akron after Akron facility? Do you think that's just where they stop, ladies and gentlemen? This is an organized crime takeover that will implode the country. Miami schools flooded with 1,400 new immigrants from Central America. Father of man killed by illegal immigrant demands president visits son's grave. That's another thing. The world is emptying out its prisons and giving them plane tickets and ship passage or bus passage to the United States. As Latin America collapses, as other areas of the world go into global meltdown, the Caribbean is in meltdown. Look up the numbers. Double the crime from what the Caribbean had just 5 years ago. Even places that had low crime, like Grand Cayman, are seeing an increase. The Bahamas is overrun and one of the most dangerous places in the world now. Society is breaking down all over the planet. Every military think tank metric shows that. Secretary of Defense Hagel admits that. And what is Obama doing and his controllers but accelerating this? Problem, reaction, solution. Now, I covered immigration first because that's coming up at the bottom of the next hour. And that is clearly the end of our country that's happening right now. The bait is set to now bring unlimited numbers in as the word gets out that, hey, you get there, you get free welfare, everything is taken care of. You become a new political ward of the state as long as you vote for whatever the globalists want. This is the takedown plan. Geopolitically, internationally, today, the top story is this. Reuters, U.S. allies to stage exercises in West Ukraine as battles rage in the east. This is exactly what all the experts have said would start to happen. It's what I've said. 6 months ago, the Ukrainians vote to not join the EU and be sucked dry by that tyranny. Soros activates neo-Nazi paramilitary groups that overthrow the government, the elected government, which certainly wasn't perfect. I'm not saying that, but it was elected. No one disputed it was freely elected. They overthrow it, run all the way into the Russian pipelines, refineries, and oil fields that have been owned, leased, and run by Russia for 100 years. Russia's been there for 500, basically. And they try to take the Russian port, their only Black Sea port and other strategic areas. Russia sends in forces to protect them for their interest. The issue is the West initiated this, just like they initiated ISIS, which is really Al-Qaeda in Iraq, that went into Syria. Just like our government backs the Muslim Brotherhood. Just like they backed the jihadis taking down Gaddafi. Just like they're backing trying to... Al-Qaeda's been attacking Jordan. And Soros came out and admitted responsibility in the New York Times for the coup and mass murder in Ukraine. And so as things escalate, notice you heard yesterday, NATO's going to send a rapid reaction force the next few months in case Russia invades. NATO is already in Ukraine, already in Poland, already has advisors. It's come out. There's already mercenaries. A lot of people that don't want war with Russia are trying to de-escalate it, saying, oh, Russia doesn't really have troops in eastern Ukraine. Yes, they do. And there's battles going on, a proxy war directly with Russia right now. It's not like we're having a proxy war with Russia through Vietnam or a proxy war with Russia in Angola or Rhodesia. The United States of America and NATO is now in a proxy war directly with mercenaries and CIA advisors with Russian troops. There's a steady stream of body bags going back to Russia of Russian troops and funerals all over the country. I've gone and checked. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there are dead mercs and others coming back here. So I'm going to explain this again. From all the intel we have, the United States, run by George Soros and others, a known Nazi collaborator, this is like a Twilight Zone episode, has gone in, overthrown Ukraine, run over Russian interests. The Russians have inserted troops. The CIA director was over there running it. Senator Mendez has been over there running it. It's on. And if they start running airstrikes, NATO does, as they've said they will, against Russians, then Russia will start responding, shooting down those aircraft, and then it escalates to the point of where General Jackson was during the Kosovo War, when the Russians controlled that airfield that they've controlled since the end of World War II in Pristina, and they ordered NATO to attack the Russians on the airfield, and the head of NATO overruled the U.S. NATO commanders, the British head, and said, I will not start World War III. We literally, people just think we can't have a war with Russia. People just think we're not going to have a nuclear war. People just expect everything's going to go on forever like it's always. This is what's going to end up destroying our society, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's going to end up really causing a problem. U.S. allies to stage exercises in West Ukraine as battle rages in the east. Reuters. We'll come back and tell you about that. Russia's strategic nuclear forces to hold major exercise this month. Reuters. NATO weighs rapid reaction response from Eastern Europe. It's already going on. Putin orders building hastened at new Russian spaceport. It's all coming up.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.
Well, General McHenry has come out and said, we helped build ISIS.
Try to kill it.
Weapons from Benghazi ended up in the hands of Islamic State radicals. We told you several years ago that was coming. And oh, gee, Al-Qaeda, now named ISIS, now named IS to confuse the public, why they're going to attack America now, why the attack is imminent in Texas or on the Texas border. The Department of Homeland Security says by or on September 11th. We've got our reporters down there on the ground. Why is that border wide open? That clip is coming up. But back to the top story geopolitically. U.S. allies to stage exercise in West Ukraine as battles rage in the east, as fighting between the army and Russian-backed rebels rage in eastern Ukraine. Preparations are underway near the western border for a joint military exercise this month with more than 1,000 troops from the United States and its allies. The decision to go ahead with the rapid Trident exercise, September 16th to 26th, is seen as a sign of the commitment in NATO states to support non-NATO member Ukraine while stopping well short of military intervention in the conflict. The annual exercise to take place, a training center near Ukraine's border with Poland, was initially scheduled for July, but was put back because early planning was disrupted by the crisis in the eastern part of the country. Continuing here with what's unfolding in Russia, Russia is now to conduct drills with their nuclear forces. Russia's strategic nuclear forces to hold major exercise this month. The forces responsible for Russia's strategic nuclear arsenal will conduct major exercises this month involving more than 4,000 soldiers, the defense ministry said today in a latest sign of rising tension with NATO over the Ukraine crisis. In an announcement a day before the start of the NATO summit in Wales, RIA News agency quoted the ministry as saying the exercise would take place in Altia in south-central Russia and would also include around 400 technical units and extensive use of air power. The head of their strategic rocket forces is saying troops would practice countering irregular units and high-precision weapons and conducting combat missions in conditions of active radio, electronic jamming, and intensive enemy actions in areas of troop deployment, or close quarter, medium range, and short range strategic nuke war. That's basically what they're preparing for. He said enemy forces would be represented in the exercise by Russian Special Forces units. Supersonic MiG-31 fighter interceptors and Su-24MR reconnaissance aircraft would take part, saying the scale of the power involved was unprecedented for exercises of this type. Both Russia and NATO have stepped up military maneuvers since the outbreak of the conflict in Ukraine between government forces and pro-Russian separatists in the east of the former Soviet Republic. A Kremlin secretary advisor said Tuesday that Russia would update its military doctrine this year in light of the Ukraine crisis and sharp deterioration of relations with NATO. A new Cold War. And I'm going to say it again. I don't lionize. I don't romanticize. I don't deify any of the Russians. But the Russians are not teaching our kids 2 + 2 = 5 and saying if we have businesses, we didn't build them. Or that raising the debt limit doesn't raise the debt. They're not funding al-Qaeda all over the world. They're fighting them. They're promoting Christian values now in Russia compared to us. Family values. And that's why the West, run by a bunch of mental patients, it's not even America. It's the criminal nutballs that have control of our society, the military-industrial complex, and the big banks that wanted to suck Ukraine and a bunch of other former Soviet satellites dry. So they're replacing the old Soviet tyranny 20-something years ago with a new globalist tyranny. The EU operates, ladies and gentlemen, just like the old Soviet Union does. We've had members of the EU Parliament on, like Nigel Farage many times, the head of UKIP. The head of the outgoing president of the Czech Republic said it's the new Soviet Union. So it's that America is becoming super corrupt. The EU is ultra corrupt. And it's starting a fight with Russia and just pushing. It's very dangerous. I want to get into General McInerney, I always pronounce that wrong, saying, quote, we helped build ISIS on national television, on Fox News. We're also going to get into the fact that it is emerging, the preponderance of evidence that the beheading videos are indeed fake. That doesn't mean ISIS isn't really chopping people's heads off by the tens of thousands every few months. Haven't killed over 300,000 people in Syria alone, more than 50,000 conservative estimates by Lancet and others in Iraq. Remember who's funding them and protecting them. But now these reporters, it's turning out, work for groups that are known CIA cutouts and are being released by the same group that got caught putting out a fake al-Qaeda video before. And they think the public is so stupid, they upload the al-Qaeda logos with the Defense Department logos in the same video layer. Let me explain that. It's produced at the same time on the same computer. They don't even care to create one copy, run it through, grab it like it's been compressed already, and then put another layer over it. So you can see the layers of compression. They just don't care. Like Obama's birth certificate was in 8 different layers, completely fake, put out in the layers, not combined, with the fake typewriter computer print. Each typewriter strike is different, like a snowflake or fingerprint. These were identical. Within hours, we said it was fake. Within months, top experts all came out and said the same thing, because you could look at it in minutes and see it was fake. The typewriter strikes, the C's, the T's, the A's, everything, was a basically Microsoft Word fake typewriter font. Meant to be fake, meant to just flaunt it in our face. And see, make it all a debate that he's really from Kenya, because he wasn't. That wasn't his dad. He was from Hawaii, the son of a famous communist who it turned out he would spend summers with, and who was his father. All hiding in plain view. Frank Marshall Davis. Unbelievable. See how they run those psyops? That's why he announced in his Harvard Law Review journal that he was the editor of, that he was born in Kenya. That's why his wife in 2007 gave 3 speeches saying we went back to his homeland where he was born, Kenya. Was all setting it up for us to take the bait. See how sophisticated psyops are? Sotloff video found by group responsible for releasing fake Osama bin Laden video. Group connected to Homeland Security and government insiders. Well, yeah, it's a Defense Department subdivision. James Foley worked under U.S. aid, a known U.S. intelligence front. He was more than just a journalist. Yeah, like Michael Hastings, whose wife was in the National Security Council, who said, Homeland Security's after me. Oh, my God, the government's pure evil. I'm going to warn everybody, don't let them kill me. And then his car blew up. And we've talked to his family, calling up, crying, begging us, no, they'll get us. Don't. I mean, they killed him. They blew him up. And then right after that, his wife got so scared, she went on Piers Morgan and said, he died, it was completely normal, and everything's fine. But see, Hastings had a soul, and when he learned about what the government was really up to and really doing, he didn't want to be part of it anymore. And, well, he knew too much, like Pat Tillman, didn't he? And all the other Army buddies and people basically got threatened and got scared. Joe Biggs didn't. That's why he works here now. That's the kind of reporters we want. James Foley worked under USAID, a known U.S. intelligence front. Was he more than just a journalist? I don't know. Do bears live in the woods? And Joe Biggs was groped as ISIS storms open U.S. border. InfoWars reporter Joe Biggs is groped by the TSA while heading to El Paso, and while illegals are allowed to fly without ID. That's official Homeland Security memo, picked up by Infowars.com and Breitbart. That's just some of what's going on, some of what's happening. Credible job, Josh Owens and Joe Biggs and the rest of our crew. I want to get to the video clip in a moment of General McInerney. We helped build ISIS in just a moment. Headline, Infowars.com, General McInerney. We helped build ISIS. Weapons from Benghazi ended up in the hands of Islamic State radicals. Paul Joseph Watson. During an appearance on Fox News, General Thomas McInerney acknowledged that the United States helped build ISIS, close quote, as a result of the group obtaining weapons from Benghazi consulate in Libya, which was attacked by jihadists in September 2012. I had Lieutenant Colonel Schaefer, who ran black op operations against al-Qaeda, on a few days after it happened, and he said it was basically an assassination of the ambassador because he wouldn't go along with the transfer of weapons to al-Qaeda. The Turkish ambassador was there and got mad. We don't know if Obama ordered the hit or whether it was Turkey, but it was a setup, and they were ordered to stand down. Now, he tried to walk it back a few days later because he still advises the Pentagon and Army War College. They completely flipped out on it. But then I had other sources in the CIA, some known, some unknown, Tosh Plumlee and others. You've heard him on air. I mean, Google Tosh Plumlee, folks. He's like ultra famous. To the point of, from Iran-Contra hearings, church hearings, that he still flies CIA aircraft in secret operations, and he's been doing it since the late 50s. That's the kind of characters that are out there from Texas. He's from Texas. I mean, he's done interviews while he's in a C-130 loaded with weapons about to fly to the Middle East. And you go, well, why is he even allowed to operate if he's been a whistleblower twice? Because there's the light side of the whole operation that is mad about what's going on, and he legitimately has his job. And he's only gone public when it's treason. I mean, is it treason to give Stinger missiles to al-Qaeda? He was told that by a high-level NATO official and an Army official. And I've basically been told that they're going to blow my head off if I keep interviewing people like Tosh Plumlee. Well, look, I mean, I get on the highway every day. I could die in a car wreck. I could have a stroke today. I mean, I'm not afraid to die. I don't look forward to it. I don't want to die, but I don't want to live as a slave in a country where our government is run by criminals that arm al-Qaeda so they can run around chopping people's heads off. And then you can use the al-Qaeda threat to take our freedoms. What I'm getting at here is that it's a fact that if there is an al-Qaeda attack in the next week, week and a half, or there is one in Europe or one 6 months or a year from now, they're saying it's imminent right now. I don't know if that's true or not. I know these jihadis are a real group. I know they're out of their minds. I know there's hundreds of thousands of them. And I know that it was in the London Telegraph yesterday, and other publications that they let them fly around Europe. They let them operate on Twitter and Facebook because they're a secret army of the globalist. So here's the deal. You're going to let Al-Qaeda fly around and stuff? You're going to let me fly without putting me in a naked body scanner and grabbing my genitals. I've had enough of this. It's a fraud. It's a joke. And I'm not putting up with it anymore. I want my Bill of Rights and Constitution back right now. And the American people should be so upset about this. DHS says the #1 enemy is who? If you're a new listener, just search engine what I'm saying. You'll have mainstream news. Washington Post. Homeland Security stands by terror designation. Homeland Security stands behind patriots as #1 threat. Founding fathers would not be welcome in today's Army. Fox News after we broke it. DOD training manual. Extremist founding fathers would not be welcome in today's Army. You can read the official Department of Defense training manual. It's not even secret. Obviously, these are the bad guys trying to teach our military the founders wouldn't be welcome in our military. Well, that shows what our military is being turned into. Our government promotes open socialism and communism now. The borders are wide open. Fort Hood soldiers were told that Christians, Tea Partiers, a radical terror threat, they could be court-martialed for it. After we broke the document, Fox News picked it up. We did a Part 2 article. In fact, click on that blue link for TV viewers. Fox News. And Fox News had a headline like, well, maybe does Army consider Christians, Tea Party a terror threat? Then you read it and it says that. It says you'll be court-martialed. Since when can you not be an evangelical Christian or give money to the Tea Party? But see, they're on MSNBC promoting, saying, Democrats, if you want free handouts and goodies, you better give money to the Democratic Party. Blue-collar people, you better give money to the Democratic Party. They fundraise for the Democrats on MSNBC. But then you want to be a pro-life group just promoting don't kill babies? We're going to come shut you down, take your tax exemption. Oh, you're a Christian group, you're a patriot group, we're going to audit every Tea Party group out there. Well, that's meant to intimidate you, but it's also meant so you can't organize. I mean, this is a takeover. And I've cut my teeth attacking Republican neocons and warmongers and the rest of them. The point is that you've got the globalists. It's bad enough to only have 2 big parties. They're whacking the Republican Party right now. And John Boehner's double-dealing, making deals, playing golf with Obama, selling us out. It's all a big, sick joke. It's not enough to get rid of Eric Cantor. We've got to get rid of every one of these fake Republicans, and we could save this country. That's why the entire power structure for the 2014 elections, Republican Democratic leadership, has everything they've got, all their big political guns, pointed directly at the real Tea Party that promotes Second Amendment, national sovereignty, basic things. Because the globalists want to get rid of all the old existing Bill of Rights, Constitution, checks and balances so they can fully take control of our society. Let's go to this General McInerney clip admitting that our government helped give missiles to Al-Qaeda. Here it is.
I've always maintained, and go back quite some time, that we were backing the wrong types. I think it's going to turn out maybe this weekend in a new special that Brett Baer is going to have Friday that's going to show some of those weapons from Benghazi ended up in the hands of ISIS. So we helped build ISIS. Now there's a danger there. We need to show support that we're going to go and take down, I believe, take down ISIS, and we can do that without boosting Bashir al-Assad.
Okay,
if we back
for that.
The right group.
I've never heard such deceptive spin right there. We need to show support against Syria, ISIS. See, they create ISIS, arm them, protect them, try to bring down Assad with them, and now, oh, we need to attack Syria to get ISIS. They're going to attack Assad. I mean, this is just, it's just incredible what they get away with.
Celebrate the spirit of freedom and liberty upon which our nation was founded at InfoWarsShop.com. Molon Lave is ancient Greek for come and take it. This popular design combines both classic Greek Spartan imagery with modern M16 assault rifles. Now available in women's tees and proudly made in the USA. And now you can protect yourself from corrupt cops with the InfoWars dash cam. It's your car's black box that records all that the driver sees and hears. And introducing the Block It Pocket. It renders your phone undetectable while protecting your private data and your health. Or take back your privacy and protect your personal information by getting your very own Detractor cell phone pouch. So get incredibly high-quality, freedom-based products and help fund the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.